Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Let's start the second part of the chapter, Baking Applications. The topics we will going to cover today is cakes, which will include the types of cakes, foam and shortened cake. Under this, we will going to study the mixing methods that can be used in making of these cakes. These are conventional, modified conventional, conventional sponge method, muffin method, pastry blend method, and single stage method. Foam cakes. Cakes featuring a large quantity of foam, usually egg white, which results in a light, airy batter and a baked cake with a somewhat coarse texture with moderately large cells. They may be of three types: angel cakes, sponge cakes, and chiffon cakes. They are different because of their ingredients variations. Angel cakes. These cakes contains egg white foam, sugar, and cake flour. It is the simplest foam cake. They are white in color, leavened by steam and air. They are more tender than sponge cake. Sponge cake. Foam cake containing an egg yolk foam, an egg white foam, sugar and cake flour. क्या डिफरेंस हुआ दोनों में कि स्पंज केक में एग योक फोम भी होता है जबकि एंजल केक में एग योक फोम नहीं था. Sponge cakes are yellow in color because of egg yolk foam. They are leavened by steam and air. Egg yolk foam required more beating than egg white foam. After preparation of yolk foam, cake flour is added. Then white foam is beaten. Yolk and cake flour mixed, folded gently into the white foam. Chiffon cake. Foam cakes include oil and egg yolk as liquid ingredients, and egg white foam, baking powder, sugar, and cake flour. They are most complex of the foam cakes, more tender than other foam cakes. They do contain baking powder and fats. Extent of beating white is more. Peaks of the egg white foam should be stand straight and soft. Shortened cakes. Shortened cakes, also known as butter, conventional, or creamed cakes. These are American butter cakes which typically have a moist, tender crumb and fine, even grain. Most commonly prepared types, especially for birthday and wedding celebrations. This group of cakes includes oil cakes as well. These are the examples of shortened cake: red velvet cake, banana cake, cheesecake, chocolate brownies. They are loaded with sugar and oil. Ingredients of shortened cake: cake flour. Bleached cake flour is used that produces a tender cake with a fine crumb. Sugar performs several critical roles in shortened cakes. Its role in influencing the volume of shortened cakes, its role in delaying gluten formation during mixing. The guidelines that can be followed for the preparation of shortened cake are: the weight of the fat should not be over 1/2 the weight of the sugar. The weight of the fat should not exceed the weight of the eggs. Although we never weigh eggs when we are preparing cakes, but this is one of the very important point. अगर आपकी baked product में variation आती है, that eggs should be measured also. Sorry, eggs should be weighed also. The weight of the sugar should not exceed the weight of the flour. The weight of the liquid, milk plus eggs, not weight of dried milk or eggs, should equal the weight of the flour. Methods of mixing. Conventional method. It is the traditional method for making cakes. Fat and sugar are creamed together, eggs are beaten in thoroughly and sifted dry ingredients. Then they are stirred in a third at a time alternately with the liquid half at a time. Modified conventional method. Method of making cakes similar to the conventional method, except that the whites are added as a foam at the end of the mixing. What is conventional sponge method? Method of making cakes in which part of the sugar and all of the eggs are withheld to make a sugar stabilized meringue that is folded into the cake batter as the final step is preparation. It is also called conventional meringue method. Muffin method. Method in which the liquid ingredients including oil or melted fat are combined. The dry ingredients are sifted together and then the two mixtures are stirred together until blended sufficiently to develop the necessary gluten. Results in a cake with coarse texture and limited keeping qualities. Pastry blend method. Method in which the flour and fats are creamed. First step. Sugar, baking powder, salt, and half of the liquid are added. This is the second step. And the last half of the liquid and the eggs are combined. This is the third step. Single stage method. Method in which all the ingredients except the egg and half the liquids are added and beaten before the eggs and the last of the liquid are beaten in. It is also known as quick mix method. Baking of these cakes. Oven temperature causes expansion of the air and carbon dioxide already in batter and generates steam from the liquid. The heat also generates additional carbon dioxide reduction and expansion. The depth of batter in baking pans influences final outcome. Shallow pans enable the heat to penetrate to the center of the batter more quickly, resulting in a cake of optimal volume. So, a cake which is baked in a deep pan, it has a greater tendency to crack in the center than when baked in shallow pan. Why? Because in deep pan, it gets more volume to get cracked. Sufficient batter should be used to filling the pans about half full with the batter. Oven temperature has an influence on the quality of the shortened cake. At too low temperature, the volume is poor because some of the cells collapse. As the temperature increases, the volume improves and so does the texture. Causes of variations in shortened cake. You can say the variations you can see here could be yellowing or fallen center. The cake could be dry and tough. It could have a dark crust. It can be gummy, crystalline appearance and coarse texture. It may have poor volume or humped. What could be the possible causes of these variations? Let's have a look over it precisely. The reason for yellowing is that the batter may become alkaline due to the excess of soda. Fallen center could be due to excess sugar, fat, inadequate mixing, excess baking powder, or too low a temperature during baking. It may be tough, dry, and crumbly because of the usage of too much flour, too much egg, too little fat, too little sugar, or too much of mixing. Dark crust may be due to overbaking or alkaline reaction, maybe excess of soda, maybe excess of fructose or honey. Improper placement in oven, either it is placed too near top or bottom. It may be due to overbaking. Gummy crystalline appearance may be due to the excess use of sugar. Coarse texture, too much of baking powder may be used, too much of sugar, or too low a temperature during baking. Poor volume, inadequate mixing, too little baking powder, too low a temperature during baking. Improper level of sugar, improper level of fat. Humped, too much flour, too much mixing, too deep a pan, too hot an oven, too little sugar, too little fat, or too little liquid. All these possible causes are already given in your book in table number 18.4, page number 453. You can refer to that table for the details.